Hi everyone, we're nearly there. So you better get some cake and a cup of tea in a minute. So I'm going to talk about, I'm Kev by the way, I live in Brannas in Flandervel, been here coming up 6 years now, fantastic beautiful place, hence why I'm in this group, because I think this proposed development is absolutely 100% wrong. And I'm going to talk about how insignificant the power output of these proposed 9 turbines are. And you can see up there on the actual slide, you know, I've put the definition of insignificance, which is it's not considered important. So RWE are saying that the capacity for the total site is 59 megawatts. However, you'll see in brackets underneath there is a capacity factor, which is 28.6%. That's the real output. And this is RWE's figures. We haven't made this up. This is their figures. And that's reduced from the potential because of things like the wind's not blowing hard enough, the wind's too hard, they can't connect to the grid, there's servicing going on, and many other factors. So that's the actual output. And what the wind industry and the Welsh Government and the UK Government is interested in is megawatts per hour. And this is how many megawatts are going into the grid, to the system, to our electricity supply per hour. So 16.8 megawatts times the number of hours per year is 147,869 megawatts per year. That's what it could produce. Not will, could. Next slide. Oh, it's so quick.
I'm ahead of you.
So the link at the top there is where I got the information from, and this is the Welsh Government's own legislation, documents, information, etc. And basically, proposal 3, and this is about our drive and our sprint to net zero and getting away from fossil fuels and everything else. The Welsh Government set a target for us to meet the equivalent of 100% of annual electricity consumption from renewable electricity by 2035. And we've seen this all over the news, etc. And then to continue to keep pace as that demand goes up thereafter. So that means that the requirement for the whole of Wales, 8,000 square miles, is 29 terawatts per hour of electricity from renewables by 2035. So what? So 29 terawatts equals 29 million megawatts a year. Gaerwen wind farm, the figure I quoted before, is actually 0.5% of that total. That's how insignificant. So if that goes ahead and those turbines are turning, it's 0.5% of what Wales needs for renewables by 2035. So if you look at that at a balancing scales, it's completely insignificant. So if that wasn't built, it's going to have no impact whatsoever on the Welsh Government's target of producing that power by 2035. Nothing. Next one. If we go onshore wind specific, because that will be a comeback, I'm sure. Wales is saying that they can deliver 3 gigawatts of clean power by 2035 from onshore wind alone. That means that the Gaerwen one, at full turnout, it will deliver 1.96% of onshore wind only. So that's forgetting offshore wind and solar and everything else, the whole green energy package. That's still very, very low. And again, it's insignificant. And again, that's off Welsh Government legislation and information. Next. Curlew keeps coming up again, and rightly so. Next slide. That's taken because there is a policy document that has been discussed in Parliament in 2023, and it's all about the state of nature in the United Kingdom, and specifically in Wales. And the report is truly shocking. And this is a quote from our MP, actually, who did speak on it in the House of Commons. That's the front cover of the report. And it talks about, it goes back to what Luke was talking about, not just this wonderful bird and all the other 39 species of birds that are up there. But it's about that habitat loss. And it's back to how much power does this produce against what's being lost, potentially. And Wales, along with other countries of the UK, and like most other regions worldwide, has experienced a significant loss of biodiversity. The trends in nature presented here cover at most 50 years, but these follow on from major changes to Wales' nature over previous centuries. As a result, Wales is now one of the most nature-depleted countries on Earth. I found that really shocking, because you walk out the door, it's all green. You do, but I personally seen a lowering of insects, butterflies, birds, all sorts of animals. We've all seen it. That is truly shocking. So if we're one of the most nature-depleted countries on Earth now, why on earth are we even considering putting an industrial park on the top of that hill over there? It's outrageous. And they talk in this document as well, and they talk about green energy and green energy production and wind turbines, etc. There's not one mention in this document about onshore. It's all about offshore in their own documents, because they know that the destruction on land is a lot worse than it is in the sea. And I'm not defending the sea, and we're not talking about the sea here, but they know that there's some real problems with the huge wind turbine factories that are going to put out in our oceans around Wales as well. And they even say that it's got to have a really strategic, in-depth analysis of how it is done and where it is put because of the damage it does out there. But the important point about that is onshore is not even mentioned in this document. Okay. Overall, so all the stuff we've looked at, we can't see any mitigations, that wonderful word of mitigate, that would have any positive impact on what they want to do up there. It's just not there. It just doesn't make sense. If you look at it just completely sat on the fence, if you just look at it in black and white facts, without any personal feelings, without any emotion, you just weigh up the numbers and you look at what you're going to lose against what you're going to gain, it just doesn't make sense at all. There's no mitigation for the damage that it will bring here and the potential further damage and everything else. And it's not just about us, it's about the next generations. I'm 58 years old, 2 generations, I'll be gone. Most of us in this room will be gone. It's about our children and it's about our grandchildren. If we let people destroy things, we've got a real gem here and we should be holding it with both hands. If we let it destroy, they're going to stand in here in years to come and go, why did they let this happen? When they had a chance to do something about it. Okay? Right, battery storage. I'm going to a bit of a swing over onto something different now. A BESS system. Next. This is what it's going to look like, or something similar. So all this wonderful power that they're not going to generate, or they'll generate some of it, has to go into a battery storage system. These are all rechargeable lithium-type batteries. They can be quite volatile. But again, it's another instalment on top of everything else that's not on any of these graphics that you've seen so far, that they've got to get planning permission for and put up there and connect to. And it brings a lot more construction onto the place. It's more destruction to the ecosystem and everything up there as well. And then we've got to connect it to the grid. So there is no connection to the grid at the moment. It's a separate planning application. It might not be connected till 2030 if they get permission. And then if they get permission, then there's got to be cables that will be underground down to the road. And then there's going to be a set of pylons going 7 k's north, basically. And they're saying it's going to be on wooden poles at the moment. All right, so underground to get off the hill, down to the road, and then there's going to be a massive string of pylons going across the countryside again. At what scale, we don't know yet. Okay? Thank you very much.